The Charge of the Light Brigade, Part 2, Stanza 3. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them. Now these three lines tell us that these soldiers, the British soldiers, were surrounded by enemy cannons on their right, on their left, and towards their front. These three lines further emphasize the suicidal nature of their attack, of their mission. Now, these lines have a powerful impact on the minds of the readers. We can actually visualize in our minds the cannons in the battlefield. The readers actually find themselves standing there in the battlefield while reading these lines, cannon to the right, cannon to left, and cannon in front. So, you can say that they were actually standing in the valley of death, isn't it? And what did these cannons do? These cannons volleyed and thundered. What is the meaning of volleyed? Volleyed means a consistent round of firing. It also means, volleyed also means a simultaneous discharge of a number of firearms. So you can say that the huge cannons around them, around the British soldiers, were firing continuously, consistently, making a thundering sound, making a loud sound, resounding sound. All right. Stormed at with shot and shell, boldly they rode and well. Now, very boldly, very fearlessly. You can say very courageously. They rode through a storm of bullets and shells fired by cannons. You can say that they passed through a bombardment or a barrage of shots and shells. Shot and shell is an alliteration. What is an alliteration? An alliteration is a figure of speech where we see the repetition of the same sound. Sh, sh. So stormed at with shot and shell, boldly they rode and well. Very boldly, very fearlessly, they rode through a storm of bullets and shells fired by the cannons. And don't forget, they had only sabers in their hands. They were carrying only swords. And very ruthlessly, very brutally, you can say very mercilessly, they were assaulted by the bullets and shots of shells of cannons. Let's read the next lines. Into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell. Now here, an image has been created by the poet by using the expression jaws of death, as if these soldiers are riding into the mouth of some kind of a ferocious beast. Ferocious beast. Yes, it's a metaphorical image where death has been compared to the jaws of a ferocious beast. You can also see that this is a personification. Personification where death has been given a lifelike quality of being a monster with jaws. Into the mouth of hell. Now this is the second personification. This is the first personification. This is the second personification, into the mouth of hell, where hell has been given a lifelike quality of having a mouth. Rode the 600 into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell. Rode the 600. So the 600 British soldiers rode straight into the mouth of hell, where they were swallowed into the darkness of hell forever. Now here we come to, yes, we wind up the third stanza, and now we will start with our fourth stanza. But before that, let me just point it out. Yeah, shot and shell. Yes, shot and shell is another figure of speech. Alliteration. What is an alliteration? An alliteration means repetition of the same sound. Sure, shot and shell. So in this stanza, we have two personifications and one alliteration. Yes, stanza number 4. Yes, flashed all their sabres, bare, flashed as they turned in air. Now, flashed here has been repeated twice. This word has been repeated twice, but in the first line it has a different meaning. In the next line it has a different meaning. In the first line, flashed here means waved or wielded. I'm so sorry for that. Yeah, so flashed here means waved. It also could mean wielded, or you can also say brandished. So these soldiers brandished their sabers, their swords in the air. It was their weapon. And this weapon was nothing compared to the guns and cannons of the enemy. And yet they wielded, they brandished, they flaunted their sword like a badge. Yes, flashed all their sabers bare, flashed as they turned in air. So now here, flashed means, well, here it means shone, shine, shone, blazed. Yes, their swords blazed, their swords glimmered as they waved them in the air. All right, sabering the gunners there. Now, what is the meaning of sabering? Sabering means cut down, wounded. Sabering the gunners there. What did they do? They sabered, they cut down, wounded, stabbed, and sliced the gunners. Who are the gunners here? The Russian soldiers with their guns. And British soldiers killed them with their bare swords. All right? Sabering the gunners there. Charging an army while all the world wondered. So they charged at the enemy's army. They launched a forceful attack. They launched a forceful attack, such an aggressive attack that the rest of the world wondered, marveled at their courage. The world was filled with awe and amazement. All right, charging an army while all the world wondered. Yes, plunged in the battery smoke. So they plunged. The British soldiers dived. They plunged and hurried themselves and rode into the battery smoke, the artillery smoke, the smoke emanating as a result of heavy gunfire and the use of artillery and heavy weapons. They dived and rode straight into the smoke emanating due to the use of artillery, heavy gunfire, right through the line they broke. Now, they rode right through the enemy lines. The enemy soldiers who were arranged in a line according to some sort of a war strategy, and these British soldiers rode straight through the enemy lines and wounded the Cossack and the Russian. Now, who are the Cossack? This war was fought between Russia and Britain. Yes, in the last video, I told you that in the introduction. Then who were the Cossacks? Well, the Cossacks were, they were the allies of the Russians. They were the allies of the Russians in this war, and they were actually known for known for their horsemanship and and their military skills. Yes, these Cossacks were known for their horsemanship and their military skills. Well, some accounts say that these Cossacks were basically Russians only, who later had formed their own community, and they admitted people from different countries and ethnic groups into their religion, and they believed in Christ. All right, so anyone who was considered a worthy warrior and who believed in Christ could become a Cossack. And in this war, Cossacks were supporting the Russians. All right, so these Cossack and Russians reeled. What is the meaning of reeled? Reeled means staggered, stumbled. So they were the Cossack and the Russians. They stumbled and they staggered and they squirmed due to the forceful attack, due to the aggressive stroke of the sabers, the swords of the British soldiers, and they were shattered and sundered. Now, sundered means broken into two. Sundered means broken into two. It means split apart. So these Cossack and the Russians, they were sliced. They were sliced. They were split apart. They were fatally wounded by the British soldiers carrying swords. Next line. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Then they rode back. So after inflicting as much injury as they could, they rode back. But this time they were not the 600 in number. So now the refrain earlier, in the first three stanzas, we have been consistently reading the line rode the 600, the refrain in the initial stanzas. But here the refrain has been altered. It's not a refrain anymore. Now it says not the 600. Yes, when the British soldiers had launched their attack, when they had charged into the valley, they were 600 in number, 600 British horsemen carrying swords, riding through a storm of bullets. But now, while riding back, they were much less in number. Why? Because hundreds of them had lost their lives. So we come to the end of stanza number 4. Can you see any figure of speech here? Well, I can see one. Saber stroke. Saber stroke here is an alliteration. And please do keep this in mind that shattered and sundered is not an alliteration. Well, in many of the books and explanations on the internet, they have written shattered and sundered as alliteration, but alliteration does not mean the repetition of the same letter. It only means repetition of the same sound, and sound here is different. Here it's sh, here it's sir. So saber stroke is an alliteration, and we wind up stanza number 4. And now for the next two stanzas, please log in to my next video. Yeah, all right. I hope you enjoyed the poem and the explanation. Thank you so much.